Oops. Okay. Hi guys. So today we're speaking about negative thoughts and a couple other things that came up in coaching calls and just questions I've got, and then some brain type health. I'm probably going to go into some of the things you can do for nurturing your brain to produce better thoughts, okay? Because it's something that we don't have to do, right? It's kind of like self-concept where you have a choice whether you want to do that or not. Now, is it going to make your journey a lot easier and a lot quicker and more succinct and just, you know, is going to make you waver less to where you can decide on something and actually become it and not change your mind a bunch of times, you know, or go back to the old story? Yes, it will make you waver less. And so it's similar to that, where the brain health really does help you control your thoughts, because our brain is creating, right? It's like our one mechanism we have to create our lives, you know. And I studied neuroscience in school and just have a lot of this information, and I actually wanted to ask you guys, if I start talking about brain health and things like that, are you gonna still be interested? Because I wanted to see if you guys are really interested in that topic, but I really believe that it's just so important that I have to talk about it when we're talking about thoughts, right? Because how do you generate thoughts? They all come from your mind, right? So if you create if you create a good, almost like a good environment or a good, you know, atmosphere, it's almost like if you were planting a garden and your soil had sand in it, or your soil was just like really low quality, you would want to fix your soil before you planted your vegetable garden or whatever, because the vegetables wouldn't thrive, right? And it's similar to that, where if your brain is, you know, if you've got a reduction in gray matter in your brain, and gray matter is the material that helps you control your thoughts and helps you, it has to do with your memory. Like it's a lot of it's like the power of your brain, if I make it in a simple way to say it like that. Like it's really like how your brain can retain information, and they say if you have more gray matter in your brain, you're going to be less depressed and you're going to have less anxiety. And there are things that reduce gray matter, and there are things that make more, that produce more gray matter and that enhance your gray matter. So it all has to do with thoughts, okay? And this is just something that I wanted to touch on because it is that important, okay? And it has to do with creating your best life. It has to do with, you know, being able to regulate your thoughts and not being all willy-nilly with your thoughts and letting any crazy thought come in. Now, what I wanted to say about that too is, if you do have random thoughts, you know, we're always having random thoughts, so that's okay. And it's about not accepting those, right? And it's not like one single random bad thought will take you down. It's just about saying like, oh, okay, I have that thought. It's there. I'm the observer. I don't have to take that thought in, right? But in enhancing the brain, we can actually start to have less negative thoughts. Okay, so but obviously, like the random negative thought is not going to be an issue. You're going to be totally fine with that. We're going to always have some amount of random thoughts, right? We're not going to be able to control every single thing, because we have about 60,000 or 70,000 thoughts a day. So it's just quite a lot to try to control, right? So anyway, I'm just going to simply touch on all that. And the reason why brain health is so important is it's like the foundation for your mind to produce whatever it's going to produce, right? And if your brain isn't as healthy, in my mind, you're going to produce more negative thoughts, right? And you're going to tend to spiral more, or you're going to tend to, you know, be a random thinker instead of being able to control your thoughts so that you can control what you're producing, right? Because everything's really coming from your thoughts. So, okay, let's get into it. So I had a question: what do I do with negative thoughts? And you just want to make sure you're not pushing against them, right? They can be there. You can just see them and look at them and know that that's not what you're choosing, right? You are being a radical decider. You are radically deciding on what you actually want. And by radical, I just mean consistently deciding on that, right? Radically without question, just keep deciding, even though you may waver, even though you may go back to the old story or the old you're just consistently deciding. So if a negative thought comes in, you just simply don't really mind, right? You're not trying to push against it. You just accept it and know that it's just part of being human, and remind yourself of what you are deciding on, right? Just, this is the new me, I'm deciding on this. And you don't have to do a one-to-one affirmation, a replacement affirmation. You could simply just remind yourself of who you're being, and that thought isn't really in line with who you're being. And then those thoughts will start to dissipate when you're not giving them attention, right? You're just starving them of attention. And that generally seems to work really, really well for me and for clients. I've had a lot of practice doing that. So that's what I typically do. And then the other thing is, when people say, the other question that came up this week, and then I'll go into what you can do to enhance your brain environment for the right kinds of thoughts. Okay, so the other question was, this person didn't get the house that they wanted, and then another person said they didn't get their job that they wanted. So it's like two people came to me and was like, oh, I didn't get it, and does that mean there's something better coming? And if you look at it that way, then that's how it'll be for you, right? So if you still want that particular job, or let's use the job example, then you just know that it's not over when you get a no, right? If no isn't the answer that you want, if no isn't the correct answer for you, then you got to keep going. That just means it's not done yet, right? Like, anything can happen if you just stick to it. And what I wanted to say too is, a lot of times I've seen this happen where we are, right before we actually get what we're wanting, we have all these things that are telling us no, right? It's almost like right before the thing pops in our 3D, we have all these people, places, things, all these circumstances telling us this isn't going to happen, right? Basically right at the moment that our thing is coming to fruition, right? And that can be the catalyst for it actually coming clear in our 3D when we do not accept no, right? That can be a really good catalyst for it to finally become visible to us, right? Even though it's already existing on a parallel plane, it's like just becoming visible to us. And so sometimes when you're continuously being pummeled with the 3D negativity or circumstances, and you keep saying, I don't accept this, right? Even when you're getting a no, or you're getting like something telling you this is not going to happen, if you just don't accept that and you continue on and you just persist in what you know is true, what you've decided on, what you're deciding radically about, it will, almost hurry up the process and make it come out, so you don't want to give up at that last moment. And a lot of times the moment at which you want to give up is the moment right before the thing comes into your reality. So it's a good thing to remember. And if you get a no, it's not the end. You're not done yet. That's not the answer that you are accepting, right? That's not your answer. That is not even relevant, because that's not your end, right? It's still the middle if it's not correct. So just chalk it up to, still the middle, still not quite what I wanted. So you just got to keep going, and then it will make itself known to you, soon. So a lot of times it's right before, when people feel like giving up, that the thing is like ready to come right then, so just don't give up. So, and then let's see. Okay. So I was going to talk a little bit about brain health, because I think it's very important. And I hope you guys will still keep listening if I do start talking about this, because I think it's literally as important as self-concept. It's like, you don't have to do self-concept, but it makes the journey easier. And so does taking care of your brain For example, the first one I'll talk about is meditation. Meditation increases gray matter. Gray matter helps us not be depressed. It helps us control our emotions. It helps us to be rational. It helps us to, rationally think, which can really allow us not to spiral on negative thoughts. So anything that increases your gray matter is what you're going to want to focus on and just be enhancing. Now, can you manifest that it doesn't matter? Sure, you can, but it's an extra step. It's like, first you have to manifest that it doesn't matter about brain health, and then you have to manifest what you actually want, versus just taking care of your brain and knowing that you've got a fertile soil for things to be good and for good thoughts to grow, right? Versus having to manifest. It's almost like a good analogy is when people say, oh, can I just like never believe in what I'm trying to create and it's going to do it anyway, it's going to come true anyway. Yeah, that's true. You can do that, but wouldn't you rather just try to believe it so that it's easier for you to wrap your head around, so you're not just wavering? If you try to believe, you will waver less, right? It's just about wavering less. So why wouldn't you help yourself waver less by giving your brain the best situation to waver less, right? Best situation to create and to want. Your brain will naturally want to create good thoughts, right? So why not create the environment for your brain to do that, right? I mean, it's a no-brainer for me, pun intended, but it's a no-brainer to nourish your brain so that you are producing naturally better thoughts. Why not do everything you can that's for you, not against you, right? And the other thing is, so that's number one, meditation. Number two is breathing. Breath work also increases gray matter. And like I said, gray matter is the thing that's going to help enhance your brain and allow you to spiral less. You'll have more control over your brain. More thoughts that you want to have in your brain will be there, right? And the ones that you don't want, the ones that are scary, the things that you don't want to persist will start leaving when you have more, when your brain is healthier, right? Which means usually, a sign of brain health is more gray matter. So another thing you can do to reduce negative thinking and to help your brain is to scroll less or not at all. Because think about when you're scrolling and just random things can come, it makes your brain attract more randomness, right? You can have more errant random thoughts throughout the day versus when you're not scrolling and when you're not like continually distracting or continually putting in random bits of information. Your brain will become a lot more focused and less random, which is what you want. In order to manifest, you can't have a random brain. So scrolling almost is like the opposite of what you need, right? Because you're creating a random mechanism, right? And your brain will react to that and then start creating and just having more random thoughts. So in order to control your thinking and to have more focused thinking, you want to not scroll and not be so not be so distracted. Another thing that helps is to have that goes along with not scrolling, is to have long periods of time of uninterrupted work, right? And that gets your brain to focus, right? So if you have long periods of time where you're not scattered, right? Where you're not doing a million tasks, so you're not also checking your texts, you're not looking at your phone, you're not answering calls while you're trying to study, or you're not answering calls while you're trying to, write out a business plan, or write, if you're a writer, write, a chapter in your book or something like that. You need focused and controlled time periods where you're not doing a bunch of other things, like getting up to clean or go to the bathroom or answer your phone or like watch your kid or go, take care of your dog, go play with your dog. Like focused periods of time where you're literally doing nothing else but that one thing. That will help organize your brain in a way that it's not going to have as many random bad thoughts, okay? Another one is, let's see, what was the other one? There's a few here. Let me get my notebook out. Let me get my notepad out. Notepad on here. Let's see. I had a really good analogy that I was going to talk about too. So I will interrupt my list to talk about this analogy. So negative thoughts, everyone has negative thoughts, and I had a good analogy about being at a buffet, and let's say you don't like potato salad, but there's like a bunch of other things there, you know, there's like barbecue chicken, there's ribs, there's, you know, stir fry, there's all these things you actually like. So you don't have to pick the potato salad. You can just let it be there, right? You don't have to tell them, like, wouldn't it be random and kind of like disruptive to go tell the waiter to take away the potato salad? That's like your negative thought. You don't have to take it away. You don't have to push against it. You can just let it be there. You can let the potato salad be there and just kind of ignore it, or just pay like very little attention to it, right? You're not going to eat the potato salad. You're going to eat something else. So it's just like that. It's like letting the thought just be there, and it'll lose its power. Okay, so I just want to say that. Another thing you can do to so I talked about random content. That's really important to reduce that or not do it at all. And then also working out does too. It can focus your brain. Weight training especially, something that's a very focused activity. Drawing does it too, or creating music, anything that is a very focused activity where your brain is very involved, you know. And when you're weight training, it's different than cardio. You can kind of, your mind can run, but if you're weight training, you have to pay attention because you are lifting heavy weights, so you could hurt yourself if you're not really paying attention. So it's one of those things we have to focus really intently on something, right? So that one has a lot of benefits, just focusing intently on something, like you know, making some sort of art out of clay, or making something, you know, creating or sewing. You know, I do sewing projects like with clothing, just to kind of get in the zone, you know, where your brain's very, very focused. So that can help your gray matter and help your brain be trained to focus and then produce less random negative thoughts. Okay. The other last one that I will say is, well, actually, no, I've got two more. So yoga or any kind of movement, coordinating movement with breath, like even doing, like I do like a push-up at home, like a half push-up sometimes with breathing, right? If you're doing some sort of movement with your breath, or, you know, down dog, up dog with your breath, that kind of focused breathing with movement, and it can be just, you know, not even a minute long, or just a minute to 2 minutes long, just doing that over and over consistently will create focus in your mind and less negative thinking. And then the last one I'll say is nature. When you're in nature, you feel very connected and grounded. Being barefoot on the earth is really good when you're in nature too, because when you ground, you will sync with the earth's energies, and you will have less negative thinking, because you will just feel your cells will be resonating with, you know, the greater part of you, and your connection with the God you will be more enhanced, and you will just naturally have less random thoughts, and it does increase your gray matter as well. So you have less negativity, less spiraling, less you know, more control over your brain, more control over your emotions. All of that will be regulated. You know, your mental health will get better. You will have less depression, less anxiety. You will have less stress in your brain, and you'll be able to focus better. So all about that brain health. I'm going to be speaking more about this in videos to come. I actually did record the affirmation tapes, but I'm working on the sound quality because some of the microphones that I was using are not the best. So I do need to, I think I recorded a part of it over again, one of them over again as well. And I think I'm going to use another microphone system. So those will be coming out soon. Anyway, all right. I hope this helped you guys a lot, and let me know if it did. If you guys love Neville, transformation, changing your life, and my unique perspective and law of reception. Stick around. I'd love to have you. Bye. Happy Halloween, guys.